Hi, thank you once again for coming back for the pharmacology class. Today I'll be dealing with aromatase inhibitors. Aromatase inhibitors. Now, let me just give you a brief um, function that takes place usually inside a body. Now, usually there is a process called as the aromatization. Now, aromatization of a ring of testosterone and androstenedione is a first and the key step in the production of estrogen, like estradiol or estrone in the body. So, here the estrogen production usually it takes place when there will be the conversion of the androgens inside the body. Okay, so that particular process we call it as, or that particular part we call it as aromatization, and it usually takes place in the presence of an enzyme called as the aromatase. Alright, now apart from that there will be free estrogen or estrogen production taking place inside our body, and that will be going for circulation, and as a result that also contributes that also plays an important part as a contributing factor for estrogen receptor positive cases or estrogen related breast cancers. So when there is excess amount of estrogen inside our body, this will be contributing a big role for the production of or for the formation of any kind of breast cancers. Alright, so in today's class I'll be talking about the next level under drugs altering hormonal milieu, and that is none other than aromatase inhibitor. Now, what do we mean by aromatase inhibitor? Aromatase inhibitor is a class, or it is the medicine which belongs to a class of medicine where the medicine starts working out by blocking an enzyme called as aromatase, the enzyme which is responsible for conversion of androgen into estrogen. Alright, so aromatase inhibitors, they are a group of medicines which will be blocking the enzyme called as the aromatase, which is purely responsible for conversion of androgen to estrogen. Now, the other uses apart from these aromatase inhibitors, they are primarily used in the treatment of breast cancers. Primarily used in the treatment of breast cancers. But there is a limitation. This particular aromatase inhibitor will be even more useful when we work it out or when we give a shot in case of postmenopausal women. Because in case of premenopausal women or in such kind of premenopausal women, what happens is the ovaries are also playing an important role in the production of estrogen, and that cannot be stopped by a body in the natural process until they attain menopause. Alright, so this particular drug can play a very good role if it is really given to a person who has completed or who has entered the menopausal period. So it is usually administered to postmenopausal women. Hence it is you can find that the results are very good in such kind of cases. Now, usually we have three set of drugs coming under aromatase inhibitors. We have three set of drugs. Now, I'll refresh your memory. The three set of drugs are letrozole, anastrozole, and we have letrozole, anastrozole, as well as we have one more drug, that is exemestane. Alright, so let us start off with letrozole. And one more feature I forgot to tell you about here, this particular one, is they belong to the third generation aromatase inhibitors. Initially there were other inhibitors which were being used, but this belongs to the third generation, and that is letrozole, anastrozole, as well as exemestane. Now let's start off with letrozole. Letrozole is actually orally active, non-steroidal compound, non-steroidal compound. So these are key features that we can remember here. These are orally active, it is non-steroidal compound, you can write it in point wise, non-steroidal compound, and it will reversibly inhibits aromatization all over the body, including that within the breast cancer cells. So it's not only going to target the breast cancer cells, but the whole body it will be having an effect. So as a result, what happens is there will be total deprivation of estrogen in the body. Alright, so here it will be inhibiting aromatization all over the body, even those cells which cancer cells which are present in the breast. Okay, all this will be deprived of the estrogen content or estrogen hormone. So even the proliferation of estrogen dependent breast carcinoma cells will be suppressed to a greater extent when compared to tamoxifen. This particular drug yields a very good results. Now let us have a look at the pharmacokinetics. It is rapidly absorbed, 100% oral bioavailability. Now what do you mean by oral bioavailability? Means the fraction of the drug that gets used up or that gets into the systemic circulation after the oral administration, that we call it as oral bioavailability. Okay, so if you are taking a particular drug via oral route, the how much amount of or the fraction amount of that drug that reaches into systemic circulation, that we call it as oral bioavailability. This bioavailability will change depending upon the routes, depending upon the drug compounds, depending upon the solubility. So there are different factors varying this bioavailability. Okay, so here the amount or the fraction of the drug which was orally taken on oral administration, how much it is reaching into systemic circulation is what we call it as oral bioavailability. So here it is 100% oral bioavailability, and here large volume of distribution, it will be large volume, it will be distributed, slow metabolism, and it has a half-life of approximate 40 hours. Okay, so it's going to have an the half-life of about 40 hours. Now, what are the uses? In which and all cases do we use this? As I said, it is very useful in case of treatment of breast cancer. So, early breast cancer, it will be used as an adjuvant therapy. What do you mean by adjuvant therapy? Means adjuvant therapy is given in addition to the breast surgery, and it not only kills all the cell, it kills not only the cancer cells but even those which may be left behind in the breast or the rest of the body. Sometimes it might be given just before the surgery, or sometimes it will be given after the surgery. Usually they prefer after surgery so that the procedure will become even more successful. Okay, so it depends upon the condition of the patient whether it has to be pre or post surgery. Okay, so usually as an adjuvant therapy they go for giving this, and they say that the survival or it is as a continuation in like I said in the last class, the tamoxifen drug as a prophylactic use or as a continuation, it's not yet proven. So we can't totally base, or you can't totally depend upon the drug. Whereas the continuation or this particular drug after the surgery, even up to 5 years, if you are continuing with this drug, it gives or it yields a very good results. Survival is prolonged in patients who have positive axillary lymph nodes. Now, second case where we go for administering is in case of advanced breast cancers. So, as per the guidelines, they administer letrozole as the first line therapy because of the longer time for the disease progression and higher response rate obtained with it when compared to tamoxifen. And also it is considered as a second line of treatment in those cases where tamoxifen drug has failed. Alright, okay, so these are the two areas where we can go for administering letrozole. One is in case of the early stage of breast cancers, it can be administered as a adjuvant therapy instead of tamoxifen, because they say that the survival of the patient or the survival of the patient is being prolonged, and it is very good in case of positive axillary lymph nodes. And in case of advanced breast cancer, where letrozole will be used as a first line therapy when compared to tamoxifen, and it can be used as a second line therapy where tamoxifen has failed. Adverse effects. What are the adverse effects we can notice over here? Hot flushes, nausea, diarrhea, dyspepsia, thinning of the hair. Joint pain is very common, and it will even accelerate the bone loss. But here there is no endometrial hyperplasia, or there is no thickening of endometrial layer of the uterus. So endometrial hyperplasia is not there, or that risk is not there, or even increased risk of endometrial carcinoma cannot be found. Now here the risk of venous thromboembolism is not increased, and there is no deterioration of lipid profile. And the dose is 2.5 mg BD oral. So this is the way we go for administering letrozole. Okay. Moving over to the second drug, anastrozole. Anastrozole is also non-steroidal, reversible aromatase inhibitor, more potent than letrozole, and it is very suitable as a single daily dosing. Single daily dosing. In letrozole, I hope you remember me mentioning that it is administered BD, that means twice a day. Here the added advantage or the very good benefit that you can find is it is very good for single morning dosing. Okay, single daily dosing, or it depends upon what you can do. And what it does is it starts to get accumulated inside the body, and it produces a peak effect after 7 to 10 days. Uses. It is used as an adjuvant therapy in case of early estrogen receptor positive breast cancer, and even as a palliative therapy in case of advanced cases in postmenopausal women. The risk of new tumor appearing in the contralateral breast is lower with anastrozole. Contralateral breast means it is the breast cancer means it is a tumor that takes place in the opposite breast, diagnosed 6 months following the first cancer detection. So that is what we call it as the contralateral. Okay, ipsilateral means usually it will appear on the same side. Okay, that you call it as ipsilateral. So here the risk of new tumor appearing in the contralateral breast is very lower when compared to anastrozole. And even tamoxifen resistant cases will also respond very well, and also it has shown increased survival. Side effects: hot flushes, vaginal dryness, vaginal bleeding, nausea, diarrhea, thinning of hair. Arthralgia and acceleration of osteoporosis, they are very prominent. However, it does not predispose to endometrial carcinoma or to venous thromboembolism. Dose 1 milligram OD. So, this is about anastrozole. Moving over to the third drug under aromatase inhibitor is exemestane. Exemestane. Now here, thus far we had seen that letrozole and anastrozole, they are the non-steroidal drug. But here it is a steroidal, it is irreversible, whereas letrozole and anastrozole, they were reversible. But here it is irreversible, and they behave like suicide substrate. They behave like suicide substrate by covalent bonding to the enzyme, and as a result 90% suppression of estradiol production is obtained. So when it behaves as a suicide substrate, it goes and binds over to the covalent binding of the enzyme, or it forms a covalent bond with the enzyme. As a result, the estradiol production will be getting suppressed. Another feature is it has got a weak androgenic activity. Weak androgenic activity. It is very useful in case of early breast cancer, and it reduces the risk of disease progression when it is substituted for tamoxifen as adjuvant therapy. Okay, so the progression of the disease will be under the control, and in case of advanced breast cancer, longer survival, increased time to disease progression, and fewer treatment failures have obtained with exemestane in case of advanced cases. It's administered orally, and it is very well tolerated, and adverse effects are almost similar to the other aromatase inhibitors that we have seen. So this is all about aromatase inhibitors. So I'll just revise once again. Aromatase inhibitors are those class of medicines which are involved in blocking an enzyme called as aromatase, which is essential for conversion of androgen to estrogen. These particular inhibitors are very useful in case of breast cancer, and another advantage or the limitation we can say is it can be useful only in case of postmenopausal women, because it's a natural tendency in our body in premenopausal women for the ovaries to for their role in the production of estrogen. Okay, so this, they say that it is very useful when it comes to postmenopausal women. And there are three set of drugs which we use under aromatase inhibitors, and they belong to third generation: letrozole, anastrozole, and exemestane. Letrozole, it is orally active, non-steroidal compound. It irreversibly inhibits aromatization all over the body, even including the breast cancer cells, resulting in total deprivation of estrogen in the body. As a result, the proliferation of estrogen-dependent breast cancer cells will be suppressed to a very good extent. Pharmacokinetics, it is rapidly absorbed, 100% oral bioavailability, large volume of distribution, slow metabolism, and it has a half-life of approximate 40 hours. Uses, it's very useful in case of early breast cancer when it is used as an adjuvant therapy following a mastectomy, and also they have found that the survival is prolonged in patients who have positive axillary lymph nodes. And in case of advanced breast cancer, they suggest that this will be used as a first-line drug in case of the like estrogen receptor positive cases, whereas in advanced cases they will be used as a second-line drug when the drug tamoxifen has failed. Adverse effects: hot flushes, nausea, diarrhea, dyspepsia, thinning of hair. You can find joint pain is very common, and it even accelerates the bone loss. But there is no endometrial hypoplasia, nor does it increase any risk of endometrial carcinoma. And the risk of venous thromboembolism is not at all increased, and there is no deterioration of lipid profile. Dose 2.5 milligrams BD oral. Coming over to the second drug, anastrozole. Anastrozole, once again, it is a non-steroidal, it is a reversible, more potent when compared to letrozole, and it is very useful when used as single dosing drug, okay, and on daily basis. It accumulates in the body and begins to produce the effect, or it reaches its peak after 7 to 10 days. And it is useful in case of adjuvant therapy, in case of early estrogen receptor positive cases, as a palliative therapy in case of advanced breast cancers in postmenopausal women. And also it reduces the risk of new tumor appearing in the contralateral breast, and you can find that even tamoxifen resistant cases also have responded very well to anastrozole. Side effects: hot flushes, vaginal bleeding, vaginal dryness, nausea, diarrhea, thinning of hair, arthralgia, and acceleration of osteoporosis is very prominent, but it does not predispose to endometrial carcinoma or to venous thromboembolism. Dose 1 milligram oral, and it is given once in a day, or OD. And the third drug what we can find over here is exemestane. Exemestane, it is steroidal, irreversible, and it acts as a suicide substrate by covalent bonding to the enzyme, and as a result 90% of the production of estradiol gets suppressed. And another property is it is a weak androgenic activity is possessed, and it reduces the risk of disease progression when it is being substituted for tamoxifen in adjuvant therapy. And in case of advanced breast cancer, longer survival, increased time to disease progression, and in some or very few cases the treatment failures have also obtained with the use of exemestane. It is administered orally, it is very well tolerated, and its side effects are very much similar to those of other aromatase inhibitors. So with this I have completed the part on aromatase inhibitors. I hope you have understood. Thank you so much.